I've found that if I open up, and obviously with not coming from New Zealand, they're all quite intrigued about my background, and you know, I'll open up and share my experiences and my family background and church and foods and things like that, and that sort of opens the gateway for them a little bit as well. Yeah.
In my very limited experience as the teacher, when we were having fun, like we were playing games, we learnt Snap. They loved Snap, you know, and it's a great fun game, isn't it? That's the sort of games that you play when you go camping or whatever. And we also, the role play type things seem to work very well. When you know, I pretended to have a shop. We were doing some numeracy around shopping, because even the words, this was more ESOL Pacific Islanders, but even the words more than, less than, they didn't quite get that, and so it was so rewarding for me. But the whole thing, we used the image of a shop, and they came up and used the money and were the shopkeeper, and we had a laugh around it. Pacifica people love to laugh, I think, and you know, and it's fun. Hey? Yeah.
We also need to remember that not all Pacifica's peoples go to church, so we need to remember not to put that, to label Pacifica people in that box. So it's more importantly that we need to understand the individual context that our learners come in, and this is not only for Pacifica, so it's for all your learners. So there is a clear difference between an island-born and a New Zealand-born learner, Pacifica learner. So they come with two different cultural expectations. Okay, so we need to also remember that, you know, how does that affect, or what values do they come from their culture, you know, and the difference of being brought up in Ireland is different to a New Zealand-born Pacifica learner. So, you know, there are many youth who just go to church because they have to. Yeah, so coming to New Zealand, it's the whole context of the environment that New Zealand offers is way beyond what an island, a small island in the Pacific Ocean can offer. So there's more challenges that our youth are faced with, our learners. So we need to understand that we can't put Pacifica people into boxes of all of them go to church. So it's basically, it sort of almost can come down to really getting to know your learner.
You know, a kid from a family of 12 will look at me and think, you know, what's he got that I, you know, how can he connect to me? But he doesn't know particularly who I am, the same way I don't know particularly who he is, but I have been around long enough to develop strategies and to understandings and all that sort of thing. So you can, you know, the more open, like you say, the more open you are, the more you put yourself out there, you know, get in touch with the boys at lunchtime, and like you say, a big feed.
Willing to take the hit for the team.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and then you know you're getting to know the boys, and as soon as you've got some connections, you can build on it.
And then it's about finding those connections, isn't it? And it's using those connections as like how writers have that hook, about hooking the readers into a story. So it's very similar with your learners, whether it be Pacifica, Māori or youth, but you still need to find that draw card to pull them in. So you really need to do a lot of homework in terms of, you know, is your learner island-born, New Zealand-born? Which island do they belong to or associate, or which islands do they associate to? So different islands will have different ways of doing things, different beliefs. You know, Fiji, Samoa, Tongan, you know, they kind of do things, you know, different. So you really need to sort of, you know, understand what we say in Māori is their whakapapa, or where they come from, or the links, you know, the learning journey that they had to get to where you are, and sort of, and it sounds easier, you know, easier said than done, but it's, you know, who do we go and see, you know, if we want to find that out. We had a conversation about this just recently. Someone said that they go and see family members. Some people say go to a church minister, but not all Pacifica learners go to church. Who do we go? Who's our first point of call? Someone mentioned, well, what they do is they go to family members, and then after they've gone to family members, they go to social groups. Okay, social groups could be church, could be sports teams, and sort of maintaining their connections. Because with Pacifica and Māori, and youth as well, they tend to work better as a group of people. They prefer to come as a group. So understanding that concept. Does anyone want to add to that, or?
The first few months of last year, I was working with in South Auckland, and everything was so cohesive, and there was a way of doing it, and people were very respectful, and you knew that you kind of knew the rhythm of the system. And then kind of the next few months I'm shot down to the South Island, and then you're with a group of New Zealand Europeans, and suddenly people are sort of saying, well, my idea this and my idea that, and I don't like your idea. And it's like the opinions of personal, individuals is more of a value. So it was kind of a shock to move, as you move training people, just that group sort of cultural response or way of operating becomes really clear, and it's just fascinating.
Yeah, because there's a PT in Auckland we came across. He doesn't, when they go recruiting, they don't recruit just the one individual. They try and recruit the family into the course. Yeah, so they try and work very hard with recruiting a whole family, as a sense of sort of, they feel more comfortable, a lot more safer. To come with a cousin, sister, auntie, and a lot of them is what Arthur's field is in. English as a second language is another issue as well. So how do we deal with that? And like you were sort of you have to step back and more and less and using those languages.
Yeah.